Hey, it's Mel. We have a quick update on two things. One, there's a new free uncut episode of the podcast on Patreon. 2 times a year, we put a free uncut episode on the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon so that anyone who follows us there for free can get a free trial, so to speak, of what it's like to join one of the paid tiers. There are now 7 free uncut episodes you can listen to on the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon, so check them out and see what you get when you join any tier on Patreon. Check the link in the show notes for that. The second thing is, we're updating how the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon works. Now, if you follow the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon for free, you'll be able to submit movies for us to discuss in the podcast. Simply follow the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon, and you'll be able to comment as many movies as you want us to cover. However, when the 2 most popular submissions are put up to vote, only paid subscribers will have access to the vote. So if you want to have your favorite movie talked about on the podcast, give us a follow on Patreon for free and submit a few ideas. And if you really want to make a difference, consider joining our Patreon for $3 a month and guarantee your vote. Again, 2 free things if you just follow us on Patreon. Check that link in the show notes. Follow the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon for free. It's totally worth it. Hey, this episode's Patreon exclusive discussion is still Patreon exclusive, except it's also free. If you join the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon as a free member, you'll gain access to this episode's Patreon exclusive discussion completely free. By listening to this episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you are quite literally depriving yourself of more engaging and interesting discussions. And did I mention they're free? So why not give it a try? Open those show notes, scroll down a little, press that Patreon link, and then follow the Cinematic Doctrine Patreon for free, and you'll be able to hear the extended version of this discussion. What do you have to lose? You're listening to Cinematic Doctrine.
Anyways, hey, if you just press play, you're missing out on a Patreon exclusive discussion that is 35 minutes long. And you can actually listen to it for free. So it's exclusive on Patreon, but it's free. Make that make sense, Melvin. Well, if you go to the patreon.com/Cinematic Doctrine and you just follow the Patreon, you don't have to pay, you don't have to join at a subscriber tier, you can just follow it. You actually gain access to a couple exclusive discussions on the Patreon. They're like trial episodes is what I'll call them, and we have a couple from over the last 4-ish years. It's about 6 or 8 episodes. I'm not quite sure the specifics because we've been doing it for so long. And it gives you a good primer of what to expect from a Patreon cut version of an episode, which almost always has a lot more to discuss. Not just in this Patreon exclusive part of the discussion, but also throughout the rest of the episode, because as I'm editing, I'm going to just trim stuff out. And it's not because I think it's bad. It's just because I think I want to keep the pace up better on the public release. I want the public release to be close to an hour and 15 minutes. But Patreon cuts can be like 2 hours, 3 hours. I think there's definitely a few 3-hour ones. Those are a couple of years ago, but we try not to do those anymore. I'm too old, unk status. But yeah, so anyways, patreon.com/Cinematic Doctrine. Check out this episode free on there as an uncut episode when you just follow us there.
Hey, this is editing Melvin here. It's kind of crazy, but I actually forgot to explain what the Patreon cut even included, the Patreon exclusive discussion. So here's what we talked about. Since we were recording this on May 25th, 2026, the uncut discussion is basically on The Mandalorian Grogu's disappointing first weekend box office numbers. But it's also kind of not about that. Basically, I just was curious, like, are audience interests changing? Which is a big thing that I've been thinking through for the last year. And what Kathryn and I decided to do is essentially reflect on not just Marvel movies or Star Wars movies, although, this is the most recent one for the last 7 years. We take a look at just, like, what big movies have come out and which ones actually profited a significant amount of money to like be considered worthwhile. So that Patreon discussion is free to listen to on Patreon. You just have to be following us there. So check it out. Anyways, whoopsie, my bad. I can't believe I totally forgot to bring all this up. Enjoy the episode.
But hey, you press play not because you want to hear me do a call to action to ask you to do things, but because you want to hear a discussion on the film Josee, the Tiger, and the Fish. This is actually a film selected by Patreon listeners. That's pretty cool. They submitted it, and then they voted on it, and now we are going to talk about it. So that's another benefit of supporting on Patreon. Movie discussions are very simple. Movie discussions are 2 questions that are no spoiler prompts. And then the second half is when we'll get into spoiler specific stuff. So if you haven't seen Josie the Tiger and the Fish, the 2020 anime adaptation, you can stick around for a bit, hear what we think, get some ideas, see if it's something you'd be into. Or maybe you've already seen the movie and you just want to keep going. I'm joined by Kathryn for this episode. Hey, Kat, what's up?
Hey. I am glad to be here chit-chatting, and we'll see how it goes.
So yeah, let's get some background on Josie the Tiger and the Fish, and then let's talk about it. So Josie the Tiger and the Fish is a 2022 anime film. This is based on a short story by Saiko Tanabe. This was published in 1984, the 1984 issue of Monthly Kadokawa. It was also later published in a collection of short stories under the same name in 1985, which actually, I think it was in 2022, it was released. A translation was released by Yen Press here in the States. It's been adapted a few times into different mediums. There's a 2003 Japanese live-action film, Josie the Tiger and the Fish, a 2020 South Korean live-action film called Josee, drawing from the previous live-action adaptation. There is a 2020 manga adaptation from Nao Emoto, who serialized through Da Vinci. They did essentially a single volume collection of this. And then finally, October 2020 sees the release of Josie the Tiger and the Fish, this anime film, animated by Studio Bones, which some of you might recognize as the team behind Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, My Hero Academia, Mob Psycho 100, Soul Eater, Gosick, Eureka 7, Wolf's Rain, Bakano. These guys do a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff people love too. I had not known about this movie. I feel like I might have seen the title, but this was around the time that I was losing interest in anime as a genre. And so I probably saw it and went, nah, not for me, and then didn't watch it. So it's kind of neat to go back and watch something kind of in the between times, because I've watched some stuff that's recent, and then I've, of course, watched stuff mid-2010s, but not something 2020. I digress. The premise of Josie the Tiger and the Fish, we have our main character, Tsuneo, who's 24, he's 22, he's in college, he wants to graduate and go overseas for an overseas program, but he works at a couple different odd jobs because he's trying to raise money for his schooling, raise money for this travel. His main job, though, is part of he gets an odd job where he meets this girl named Josee, who is the term paraplegic? She can't walk. She's in
You're right.
a
It is
wheelchair.
it's paraplegic.
So he ends up meeting this woman because as he's heading home from work, Jose's on her wheelchair riding loose down a hill because she was accidentally pushed down the hill and she ends up falling out of her wheelchair, falling into Tsuneo. It's our characters bumping into each other, one with a sandwich because they're late for school type scene. It's their meet cute. Anyways, Josee is put off by this and calls him a pervert, and Tsuneo is just patient. And Jose's grandmother shows up, mentions like, yeah, that was really scary. Someone pushed her down. Tsuneo helps them get home. Or no, I think they're walking and Jose's like, why are you following us? He's like, I live this way. it's like kind of funny, to which the grandmother invites him in to eat. And then, since he mentions that he's trying to raise money, the grandmother offers him a job, which is, could you just come by and be a caretaker for Josee? Just do whatever she says. Need to make sure she's doing fine while I'm about work and other things like that. So that's kind of how the film goes. We then start to see this dramatic relationship develop wherein Tsuneo is doing tasks for Josee. Josee is requesting absurd things like, I want you to kneel for the rest of the day just to see if you can do it. I want you to count the slats on the floor. And the type of flooring it is, we're not talking like thick plywood or 2x4s. We're talking very tiny little slats. And it's actually, as describing it, I'm realizing these are all things that she does, but she's now asking Tsuneo, who is an able-bodied, physically fit person, to do the things that she's been stuck doing. Because we learn that Josee has been stuck inside all the time, and her grandmother is terrified of her going out now because of this incident, wherein she could have died. And so let's talk about the movie that we watched, and talk about the movie that patron supporters wanted us to talk about. So, Kathryn, What did you think?
The first word that really came to mind for me was innocuous. like mostly inoffensive. It's like hearing you describe it, I'm like, oh yeah, there are some really charming things about this film, or like cutesy things about this film.
Mm-hmm.
But in my thoughts, I just see this as a romance anime movie in the vein of A Silent Voice, to the point where Josee the Tiger and the Fish ends up using disability in a similar way to how A Silent Voice uses bullying and despair as like a primary part of telling its story.
Mm-hmm.
And a majority of how it tries to create depth in its story.
Now, listeners, if they've listened back, know that Melanie and I were not fans of that movie. I myself genuinely really not a fan at all of that film. Since you're using it as a comparison, where do you stand on A Silent Voice?
If I remember right, with A Silent Voice, I feel like it was one of those movies that I kind of like half watched, and I was half like invested in watching it when you watched it. But I feel like A Silent Voice is frankly irresponsible with how far it takes.
Yeah, that's how we felt.
Its themes of bullying and despair. And I think that A Silent Voice is a little tasteless in how it uses those things in its storytelling alongside this kind of like common light romantic drama sort of stuff that it has going on with it. It's been a really long time since I've seen that. Sure. But I think Josee the Tiger and the Fish is... I would not use words like that to describe it. I wouldn't say that it's like irresponsible, right? There are things that I definitely think I wasn't a huge fan of with this film, but like for the most part, this was a very inoffensive movie to me.
Yeah, innocuous and inoffensive. Those are good words for it. Yeah, you know, I think it's fine. Like, let me just start with the positives. I like that. And these will sound very stupid, but they're significant, especially because this isn't common for anime, or at least the first one isn't. I like that our characters are in their 20s. I like that. I like that they were not in high school. Like, that's always like very tiresome for me as someone who gets older every day and strays further and further from high school. Like, it just, I'm so happy that they are 20.
There's a funny part though where Sunio asks Josee like how old she is, or she brings it up and she's like, I'm 24. And I'm like, girl, then why do you still kind of look 17?
I know. There's a problem.
Anyway.
But it does help that like these are coded as adults, like they are young adults. And so a lot of their dialogue feels a lot more natural that way. And a lot of their way of kind of approaching the coming of age type storytelling feels a bit more natural. So 20s, like that really made all of what their motivations and desires and the relationship and their dialogue, all of it works so much better to me, and I really liked that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the stakes were higher too. Because like for Sunio, like if things go wrong, it's not just, oh, well, I guess like I'll spend the summer with my mom and dad. It's like, no, he this guy has his own apartment that he has to be responsible for. He has a degree that he's finishing out. He has like jobs that he has to work. And then for Josee, it's like, okay, she's this woman in her young 20s. How prepared is she really to like be an adult on her own?
Yes.
Not just specifically because of her disability, but like because of the way that her family has or has not prepared her for life.
Yes.
There's just more going on there, and there's less security for our characters as dramatic things unfold.
And so like I like that our characters seem responsible and mature. The character Josee is not mature, is not responsible. That's the character. So that tells you where this character arc is going to go, how they're going to develop and change through the movie. So when I talk about responsibility, maturity, I'm really talking about like kind of the other characters, but I also kind of like where Josee's story kind of goes theoretically. I don't think the movie's great, but like I said, I'm sticking to positives. I think those parts I'm enjoying. The idea that these characters aren't just in their 20s, but they also function relatively responsibly. Tsuneya could quit this job. And he actually at one point is about to. He's like, I think I'm going to be done this job because like, it's not good for me. And like, I could be doing other things. I could be doing other jobs. I could be happier. And so that's significant. Like those are things that matter. So I thought that was good. There's a quiet scene where two characters talk that I thought was enjoyable. That's what I'll say there. And there is a plot development that I was surprised by and I thought was interesting and added to the fact that the story is set in their 20s, that they're kind of growing in maturity. So I liked this plot development. It's spoilers, so I'm not going to explain it, but if you're listening and you've seen the movie, you might know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
You may not know this, but the easiest way you can show your support for Cinematic Doctrine is to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. So press pause and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And then press play again so you can hear the rest of the show.
That's kind of all the positives I have. And it's not even necessarily that I have negatives that I think are intrinsic to this film. I think a lot of this is preferential. Because I just don't think Josee and the Tiger and the Fish was like my thing. And it's silly because like I like dramas. Like I like dramas that aren't just a mashup of like something dramatic that's also psychological horror or something that's dramatic that's sci-fi. Like I like dramas, but I felt like this was pretty melodramatic. Like every 12 to 15 minutes is something attempting to provide some kind of catharsis or extreme level of joy or romance. And I just felt like at some point I'm like, is the movie trying to convince me that it's romantic as opposed to just like showing it to me? Because then like you got a movie like In the Mood for Love, which is like, really? Those people don't do any loving. And it's like, that is the most romantic movie on the planet. It's so sad. Like,
I mean, I'm even thinking of our recent rewatch of The Unknown, where that's a movie where like every 5 minutes there's a melodramatic reveal. But something about that movie is just way more engaging to me than this, because I think Josee the Tiger and the Fish also, kind of going back to like one of my gripes with it, is just the tropes. I've seen other films, whether it's romance, drama, comedy, I've seen other anime or TV shows that have very similar plot points that roll through. Everything in this movie worked, but again, I just don't think that there was anything that like knocked it out of the park for me. I will not remember this film.
So that's one of my later notes, is that I'm already kind of forgetting like what the film is and does. Like obviously I can recount it and explain it, but like there's knowing things factually and then there's knowing things. And like I know this factually. But on that, like the fact that there's so many big melodramatic cathartic moments to me means there's these moments that are quieter, like the one I earlier mentioned, that's like a quiet scene between two characters. It just makes those few and far between and less like meaningful to me. So you and I had this conversation where like you were saying, you were criticizing some of the moments that I liked, which were like quieter moments, because you felt like they were almost, correct me if I'm wrong, but pandering almost is sort of what it sounded like you were implying.
Some of the quieter moments I didn't really like because it felt like it was manufacturing drama.
Right. So it was something like that, where then I was saying, well, I think it's because it's surrounding these moments with these like extreme heightened emotions and moments. So it's either drowning them out or maybe not confident enough in those moments. But like romance is in the small moments. Romance is in the yearning. Romance is in Mr. Darcy stretching out his fingers because he just touched someone's hand that he is madly in love with. That is such a quiet, understated, female gaze moment. Like that is wonderful.
All I can think of are the I forget the name of the comic artist, but the comic. Ooh, Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy. Yeah, but like that to me is like that's what I like. And yes, there are times where people maybe it feels like you're picking up the person you desire and swinging them around at the beach, just having a wonderful time and music is playing. But like, there's also these soft moments where you're just sitting down and you're reading your book and you kind of just look up because maybe some cars were passing by your house and they were a little loud, so they caught your attention. But when you look up, you notice your cat and your wife. and you just think, I am so blessed. Like you, and that's the moment that fills the heart. And like those little moments are completely like hands on neck suffocated by this movie. It's like crazy. You see the imprints, like it is. And so to me, I'm like, there's no restraint. There's no restraint on the drama. So it's just crazy. Man.
Somebody gazes longingly out of a train window for 20 seconds and the film goes, that's enough, cut.
But yeah, then I had things like, I do like coming of age stories, and this is definitely a coming of age stuff. And I do like it even when it's not just fantastical ideas, but I just wasn't particularly compelled by the coming of age stuff here. Plus, like, there's a point in the film where part of a character's coming of age story, it feels like the film punishes them. And it didn't read like they were in need of punishment. Like, it didn't read like a character who wouldn't already have the maturity to understand the situation. That's what I'll say around that, because to say anything further, I think gets to spoilers. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so all in all, like to me, I just like, if I had to sum it up into a word, I would just say sophomoric. I just think it's got aspects that I like, got aspects that I think are mature and very interesting and compelling. But it is so surrounded by its kind of elementary elements that, to me, prevent it from being a bit more enjoyable. What did the movie evoke in you?
So it's funny. With what this evoked in me, I have one point that I think out of this whole movie kind of just rubbed me the wrong way in a significant way. My title for this in my notes is "Get Your Hands Off of My Little Mermaid."
Okay. What? Like, I know where Little Mermaid is in the movie, but like, what?
Yes.
Okay,
the film has the film has like this recurring motif where Sunio is, doing the scuba diving lessons to make money, and Josie wants to go to the sea, and it's this big thing. And I just felt that it was obnoxiously on the nose that the Little Mermaid story is used as a mirroring device for what's happening in Josee, the Tiger, and the Fish. The Little Mermaid is frequently referenced as a romance story that has a disabled character in it because she's mute as a human and unable to walk on land otherwise as a mermaid. So it made me want to roll my eyes really, really hard when the Little Mermaid was overtly referenced here. Like, Josee is just like a one-to-one, like, oh, this is our mermaid, our disabled character that longs to know a world that she has been kept away from by an overprotective parental figure.
What's interesting, though, is like, apart from the mention of the book and kind of the imagery that Josee correlates freedom with fish, it felt so strange how the movie kind of tried to make some correlation there, but it does feel like it strays way further from kind of any aspect of The Little Mermaid. Do you think that was kind of like how you felt, or what do you think?
No, like I feel like it tracked along enough with the story and with the themes of the Hans Christian Andersen version of The Little Mermaid. There's a part in this movie where Josee is dreaming, and she's dreaming that she's a mermaid. Mm-hmm. So it's like the inverse of The Little Mermaid dreaming and wishing to be a human, because she sees the land as a place of freedom. And so Josee is seeing the sea as a place of like this freedom, this place that she can't go to because her grandmother says she can't. There's also some stuff that happens later on in the film that's deep spoilers territory.
Yeah, we'll get into
that. It plays around with some of the later themes in the Little Mermaid story, as far as like what it looks like to be like self-sacrificial for the people that you love. And for me, once it was made abundantly clear how heavily this was referenced in kind of crafting the characters and crafting some of those dramatic elements, I started to lose interest, because I was like, okay, great. Like I already kind of know where we're going with this.
Yeah.
If you're making that overt reference to her being like this mermaid figure in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and that I could totally see that. Okay, I better understand that now. Yeah, I for like me, like it didn't really evoke a lot in me. Like it was kind of a nothing burger for me. like like I already mentioned it earlier, but like we watched the movie a few days ago, not long ago. And like I'm struggling to kind of remember like just the feelings of the movie because like I didn't really feel anything watching it. I did find the third act a mess. I really think the third act is a mess. We'll talk about that later. To the point that I was audible, like I said earlier. Like I was like, what is going on? What is this character saying? But like I also just don't even really feel what the movie's trying to make me feel. Like I just don't feel anything. So it just feels kind of like, okay, like very saccharine. Your next point kind of feels like something that would be combined with my point. And mine's really small, so I'm just going to mention it. But there's some light manic pixie dream girl stuff here, but more like manic pixie dream romance. Like the aspects of that make up a manic pixie type story kind of are distributed, where like Tsuneo is the one who's kind of enlarging Josee's world, but then Josee is the one who's the ditzy, doesn't know much about things, which I feel like is typically those would be the same character, but they're not. They're kind of different. The other character is kind of like this romantic backup for Tsuneo, which is pretty consistent for this type of story, romantic pixie stuff. But there's an aspect of Josee that you found annoying, and I feel like kind of goes in theme with more of an anime equivalent of a manic pixie. What was that?
I'm going to butcher this so hard.
Kathryn asked me earlier, how do I pronounce this?
Yeah. So I don't like tsundere tropes.
Yeah, that's basically it. Tsundere.
Yeah, okay. So I don't think that making a female character a tsundere makes them be a character that has this like immediate depth or interest. I find it to be really boring because like the romance arcs with these types of characters usually end up with the man winning over a difficult quote unquote woman in some way. The harshness that she has only exists as an obstacle for the male character to overcome so that he can be rewarded with a soft, beautiful, and kind romantic partner once she changes her ways. The female to male equivalent is like, I can fix her or I can fix him. And this is that I can fix her. Like she's difficult and like I'm going to be the one to crack the code.
Yeah, she is definitely that. Like she has a bit of those tropes to her. But in the film's defense, Tsuneo is just doing his job. And the first half, it's just like, this is a job and it sucks. And it isn't until like really the second half of the movie that romance stuff sort of kicks in. And frankly, it does feel like it's kind of out of nowhere because it felt like it was coded as a fairly platonic job. Like it doesn't read like he's interested in her at all. Like, so it is kind of strange.
There's also something kind of weird about it where like her pet name for him is Caretaker. So like there was something about that like giving me the ick.
Oh, like Dom and Sub type stuff.
Well, no, not,
Yeah,
I wasn't thinking of it like I wasn't thinking of it in that level, but I was thinking of it in terms of like their relationship has been like a caregiving sort of relationship. Mind you, like she's also fairly independent. Like she's a wheelchair user, but she's like she's capable like of taking care of herself and like doing things
if she has the stuff, but if she has to retrieve them, she doesn't seem to be, and that's kind of her arc. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. No, but like we also see like her character growth is her grandmother had one expectation for what she was capable of, and she has proven that she's able to continue to grow as a person and do things independently.
But yeah, the tsundere stuff is weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. And like their meet cute starts off with like her essentially like falling into his lap. And I really didn't like how the beginning of the story was her just calling him over and over like a pervert, a hentai, like every 3 minutes. Again, like Tsuneo's, he's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything wrong.
There's this like precedence at the very beginning of their relationship that like she sees him as like this pervert.
As a creep.
And to me, it almost kind of felt like a nod and a wink of like, the writer to the audience saying, like, she hates men that she perceives to be perverts. So, like, don't be a pervert. And, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but I just really don't like the trope.
Like, I do think some of these characters are a bit more, as I mentioned, mature and more realistic. Yeah. They do have more
There's
to
some growth.
them. But it does feel like this is kind of like, it's like anime getting in the way of a story. If it feels like something that's an anime trope being put into something that didn't need those tropes to be in it at all. It's a messy movie. Like, I really think it's just a messy movie.
Again, it's stuff like that coupled with those quieter scenes that makes it feel to me like the quiet scenes are like manufacturing the drama. The tone doesn't seem as consistent as I would like it to be.
Yeah, all the stuff that's working is crowded out by stuff that's annoying, like all the time, and it doesn't really stop. Like, it keeps going on, and then the annoying stuff becomes more annoying in the third act. It's really strange.
Hey y'all, it's Frank here. Are you looking for a podcast that feels like chatting about geek culture with your friends? Check out Geek Freaks. We cover the latest in movies, gaming, comics, TV, and all the big stories you want to gossip about anyways. We have honest reactions, fun discussions, and interviews with creators across the industry. One key point about Geek Freaks and everything in our network is we will never harsh you for being a fan of something. There are too many other podcasters that want more listens and more clicks, and they'll do that by making you feel bad. We won't do that. So, whether you want breaking news, deep dives, or just to hang out with people who are generally positive about geekdom, come check out Geek Freaks. We'd love to have you. You can find Geek Freaks wherever you listen to podcasts, or just simply Google Geek Freaks. You'll find us. All right, have yourself a great week.
So yeah, let's get into our first open spoilers prompt. We got recurring motifs, prominent significant moments, and/or characters. Kitty Cat, what do you got?
So, is it cheating to say the title of the movie? Josee, the fish,
the tiger,
and
the fish.
The tiger and the fish.
Can't even say the title right. Pathetic.
Oh man.
This was basically my main thing, was like the title, the Josee, the character, who is the tiger, or what is the tiger? Who is the fish? What is the fish? How did you approach this?
I did not have much thought on Josee as like a recurring thing throughout the movie, even though she is like she's our title character. I do think that if I had to like shorthand it, I think that the film really focuses more on her development as a person than it does Sunio until the very end. Mm-hmm. Like, she is this quote unquote like difficult person who, through power of friendship and kindness from this man, goes on to like broaden her horizons, to do things that are challenging for her, like traveling to the seaside, like on public transit in her wheelchair, or getting a part-time job at the library, or illustrating a book, or like there are all of these things about her where she's like kind of like our main, she's like the focus of the story through like how she develops. And I would say how she develops then directly impacts Sunio and what happens to him in the third act of the film. For the other 2 points, the tiger, I felt really unclear, and I don't know if like you felt similarly, but I felt unclear on like what the tiger was really there to represent. It's established in the film that she's afraid of tigers.
Pretty late in the movie, it's established. Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, that she's like afraid of tigers, but she also wants to go to the zoo and see the tiger and confront the tiger with Sunio with her. And she says something along the lines of, I felt like I could come here and confront it if you were with me, so that I could hold on to you if I needed you. And then towards the end of the film, she goes back to visit the tiger on her own. And to me, like, I mean, I was just like, what's this supposed to represent? Is the tiger like her fear of the outside world? Is the tiger like representative of like the loss of her parents? Is the tiger like her disability?
Question mark?
Again, I can't walk away and say like this is what the tiger represents.
To kind of compare, like, you have a movie like Dune, where in the first one, the Villeneuve one, the first one, it keeps showing how like Oscar Isaac wants to bring this family heirloom of like the bull with him because it's sort of something in their lineage that like one of their great ancestors, all the Dune heads out there. I haven't read the book. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. So just forgive me for the mistakes. But it's important to him to preserve this lineage and history of like one of their older family members was like
a matador.
Matador. And that iconography keeps coming up over and over with Duke Leto Atreides. They keep bringing it up. And it's even one of the last things he's looking at is this boar head. And like, so it's possible to introduce and have a running idea of like, it's a nondescript metaphor for something important to a character. And then to the audience, it's left to be thought about. And so I think that in this moment, this is one of those cases, obviously, right? Like that's very clear. The tiger has more significance to Josee than it does to me or to you. The problem though, I think is it's introduced pretty late. Like we don't really, she never talks about a book that she read that has tigers in it, or if she did, because she talks about books she likes. If those are based on real books, I don't know the books. So then it's talking about stuff that I don't have knowledge of. Okay. But also just sort of comes out of nowhere during like a soft montage. So its importance isn't clear apart from the fact that it's in the title of the movie. In fact, if it wasn't in the title of the movie, it would kind of just feel like a scene in the montage where she's just sort of freaked out by a tiger. And, you know, it's a little cute scene with Suneo where she grabs him a little tighter. That to me, then, like, if it wants to be utilized as this more consistent metaphor, especially if it's in the title of your movie, it doesn't have enough weight to it. But to answer your question, I do think it's like just her fears personified. But go ahead.
Well, and I think that in that, like to that point, it does get a little mixed whenever she eventually illustrates a book and the tiger is seen as this threat against Suneo, like his stand-in in her story.
Yeah, and I get like that she's then trying to speak to Tsuneo's kind of anxieties and fears. And so like that further confirms like probably from her perspective, it's the thing she's afraid of. But that's where then I would say I don't think it's handled well in the movie. I think the boar imagery, or not the boar, it's been the bull imagery. I've been saying boar, haven't I? The bull imagery in Dune is much more important to Leto's story. It's imagery of power. It's imagery of nature. It's imagery of fate. It's imagery of things outside of the self.
Yeah, and I think like the imagery of like a matador and a bull, it's this idea of somebody who's tempting fate.
Right.
Like they are on the edge of danger. So like there's more to that metaphor than a tiger.
Right. Because also like that's something that was in the past where we don't see Duke Leto Atreides doing matador stuff in the movie, but we know it's significant to him because he knows what it was in history, which is more also significant about fate because kings come and they go. Look, he used to do this. That was really cool. But now he's in the grave next to us. Like it's just where he is. But here, like the context of the tiger is a zoo. He's in a zoo. There's no tigers in Tokyo. They're not walking around. Like Josee's actually fine out there. Like, yes, there are people who are tigers. She at one point calls people tigers because they've been rude or bump into her. And like, okay, that's fair too. Like there are rude people out there. But again, I think it's a matter of an incomplete metaphor, incomplete allegory, just an incomplete symbol that kind of comes across as sort of silly, in my opinion. The fish, that symbol is one quadrillion times more clear. Like,
oh, really?
Very obvious and effective, and I like it. I don't mind it.
I agree with you. The fish metaphor is way clearer. There's just better, like it's better handled. The fish is revealed as being kind of Suneo's backstory, where he grew up in a divorced family. So he didn't really spend much time with his dad, and his mom was always working. But on his way home from school, he would always stop by the local aquarium store and like say hi to like some sort of rare clownfish or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the exact fish right now, but for him, this fish is representing like this kind of isolation because it's just a single fish in the tank when really they're a schooling fish. Naturally, these fish want to be with people like well, the metaphor, but like the fish wants to be with its kind. It wants to be in a group. It wants that safety, that belonging. All of that in mind with the fish. The seaside that Josee wants to go to and that Tsuneo takes her to, the sea is seen as a place to both Josee and Tsuneo that is a place of belonging. Josee specifically wants to be at the sea because she wants to taste the waves and feel close to her deceased father because they had like a little not an inside joke, but like a secret between the two of them about the waves and what they taste like. Like the sea is somewhere that she wants to go so she can connect personally to like her family, to her art. We see that she does a lot of art of the sea, and for like her curiosity for the unknown. And then for Tsuneo, he wants to be at a specific sea. He wants to go to Mexico so that he can see this fish schooling in nature in the place where it belongs. The fish represents him finding connection with others as this child who grew up in like this broken household. All of that is comprehensive. I don't know if I if I explained it well, but that's what I got whenever I was thinking about the imagery of the fish and by proxy the imagery of the sea that we see throughout the film.
Yeah, and like the movie, all of those things are interesting, especially even romantically, where you have Josee who sort of envisions fish as like freedom and probably starts the film out of a beautiful bitterness toward Tsuneo, who is a swimmer, who likes the ocean, who is bipedal and can walk around just fine. And because of that, there is a jealousy, but also like a desire to be like that. And then as the film continues, they realize that in their romance with Tsuneo, they can have an aspect of freedom that's very different, but better because their love and romance and desire is what's more satisfying than this fantasy. Now, by understanding the fish better, we can understand that if the tiger is a opposite like to the fish, then yeah, the tiger has to represent some sort of confinement or like fear of danger, but then also the tiger is in a zoo, so it is quite literally contained. So I don't know, it's very it's a mess. Like I don't know, it's just it's a messy movie. It's all over.
Is she the tiger? Is the tiger all the things that she's afraid of? Who knows?
It's so strange.
Enjoying this episode? Grab that share link and tell your friends. Word of mouth is the most effective way for a podcast to reach new listeners, so don't be shy. Share the episode wherever you can.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the end of the movie. So just to kind of wrap things up. So the grandmother passes away. This is the moment that I was mentioning in the way earlier in the episode that I was saying caught me off guard and I kind of liked. I thought that was a very like human thing to do in a story that like keeps flip-flopping between cartoonish and human. So Josee's now living alone, and through certain things that kind of go on that are pretty upsetting to her and difficult, she throws away her paintings, decides she's going to go full normie and get a job, decides to go by her birth name instead of Josee, and Tsuneo is kind of caught off guard. And then Josee, as they're kind of leaving Tsuneo despondently, almost gets into a car accident. And this is when Tsuneo actually runs in to try to prevent the accident from happening, but then gets hit himself. And so now he is unconscious. And when he wakes up in the hospital, he has become seriously injured. His one ankle is so injured that it's possible he may never run or walk at the rate he did before, and swimming would be incredibly difficult. He is totally, completely destroyed by this. He's really fallen apart. And it isn't until Josee kind of which this is a clever thing. Again, it's muddled, it's messy, it's got stuff in the way. But Josee kind of finds a way to bring the two of them together. Josee has all of the things that Tsuneo sort of helped her see about the world. And then Josee has the things that are intrinsic to herself, like the art that she enjoys, and then the desires she has, such as freedom, a very literal take on Little Mermaid type stuff. She writes this story, which she then reads aloud, and then at some point Tsuneo hears it, and it moves him, which then becomes the spark that motivates him to persevere, recover, and in his recovery is able to again, I can't remember. Does he end up going to Mexico? I don't remember.
The end of the movie is he does recover, but then she kind of disappears, and he thinks that she's moving out still. And so he goes on this like mad dash to try and find her again. They have their meet cute part 2 where they have the same exact thing happen, where she is for some reason plummeting down a hill.
Yeah,
and he catches her.
Yeah,
he catches her with the crutches. Basically, the way it ends is she says, "Oh yeah, I'm selling grandma's house," and like both of them are like, "We want to be together," and he's like, "I'm still going to go to Mexico, but then I'm going to come back and be with you."
Okay,
I think that's how the plane lands. If I can like sum it up, because it happens so quickly. It's like it's the quickest exchange.
Yeah, it was giving. You remember Barbie and the Princess and the Pauper?
oh yeah. The ending where she's like, "Yes, Prince Ken, you're really handsome. I really like you, but I got to go do my own thing, and then I'll be back."
The Pauper is like, "Well, I wanted to do this thing, and I'm going to do it. And when I come back, that's when I want to marry you." And the Prince is like, "Okay, let's do that." And it's really sweet. It's like actually really wonderful. Except Tsuneo gets to be the Barbie this time.
So much happens.
It's such a rush.
After that, if I remember right, part of the complicating incident and why Josee decides to take this like hard turn into like going by her birth name, getting an office job, like all these like not her things, like throwing out all of her art, is because she stops by Tsuneo's workplace and sees that he has a cute female coworker who's able-bodied. And then she also gets a visit from the social worker basically saying, "You've got to grow up, like go get an office job."
Which is true. We didn't talk about this, but like we finished the movie and we were both like, yeah, like she was bratty. Like she's just like really immature, and it's actually quite frustrating. I like that her character arc by the end is like she matures, but it's like it's a little tough like to watch.
Well, but like the fact that like part of the quote unquote transformation into like her like our third act like downfall thing is that she just sees that Tsuneo has an attractive coworker, and she's like, "That's it, I can never be with him." And like starts to spin out.
It's very strange because she is 24. So like okay, she's paraplegic and might have had difficulty in school, or maybe didn't go to school. Maybe this is sort of described in the short story or other adaptations or manga, who knows. But it does seem so cartoonish. It just seems really bizarre for a 24-year-old young woman to be like, the social worker's telling you if you don't do these things, like you're going to die. like it's not, this isn't a joke. Like
yeah, like they will, like if you don't do these things specifically, like you're going to lose the house, we're going to kick you out, you're going to go to like a
you're gonna be homeless,
a home. Like, or go to like a social support service. Like you're not going to be able to be independent. It's like Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, it's and yet even in that he has more independence of like intelligence. Even covered himself in oil so he can slip out a window because he wants to wrestle. That's a man who gets stuff done.
I love that movie so much. The end of the movie, it's just like this kind of like juvenile sort of thing that then gets into this like dramatic contrivance that then Tsuneo gets hurt. And so to me, the way that I kind of viewed this was going back to one of my earlier thoughts with like the I can fix them sort of mentality, where at the end of the movie, we essentially get this sequence where Josee is quote unquote like fixing Sunio because of how much he has quote unquote fixed her. And I mean, like, what do I mean by this? I mean that Sunio goes above and beyond to show Josee new places, to encourage her to make friends, like at the library, to get involved. He encourages her in her art. He is that catalyst that fixes her and kind of brings her out of her jaded, sheltered, immature ways. And then there's this like flip that happens where she's the catalyst for his injury. So she has this confidence because of what Sunio has done in her life to then like independently travel to the hospital to check in on him. She has this kind of confidence to confront other people like May, who she's like jealous of because she thinks, oh, she's going to be Sunio's girlfriend.
What is that about? That was such nonsense.
She can walk. I don't know.
She's got gams.
Like she also like, she writes this book specifically in honor to him, to help to get him out of his depressive funk, to encourage him through his recovery, to support him in his desire to go to Mexico. Essentially, like the movie is like, because he was there for her and changed her in this way, she's now there for him and changes him in return, but using all of the things that like essentially he kind of taught her or encouraged in her. Fair enough. Like we can genuinely grow in our relationship with others. And love allows us to kind of do that like mutually as we support each other, we know each other, we learn things from each other. So like maybe it's a stunted perspective to say that like I'm viewing this in this lens of like fixing the other person, but it really to me kind of felt like it was presented that way. Like there are things that are wrong with them and it's up to the other person to like to fix it. So I don't know if you're tracking with that or if you had a different perspective.
In the case of Sunio, this is the character, and these are the events I was talking about earlier, where I said it felt like a character is being punished, that it doesn't feel like it makes sense to do so. And this is probably something from the short story, my guess. And I say that because it's like, well, it's beholden to this. It has to happen. So they have to find a way. But Sunio's character doesn't feel like a character that wouldn't be able to recognize where Josee is coming from with a lot of their anxieties. In fact, two things. One, Sunio, I don't think, owes Josee anything, because as far as the beginning is concerned, this is a contractual transactional relationship. This is I am doing a service for you. I'm working for you. So that's where it starts. Now, they do start to then have romantic feelings for one another. Okay, so it becomes more complicated. Fine. But Suneo still seems to be coded as a bit more mature and capable of feeling for others. And so when Josee kind of has their fit and even is just like, you as an able-bodied person will just never understand like how I feel. I like that Suneo, I think, has one point earlier, not about able-bodiedness, but just about Josee being like, you don't get it. Suneo's just like, you're right, I don't. Like, because he's essentially saying, like, tell me. like you are refusing to tell me the thing that you are mad I do not know about. But that doesn't mean Suneo has to be like paralyzed for a bit or have such a like existential experience take place. And I'm saying this on a metatextual manner, not like Josee didn't do it to him. The story's doing it to him, but it just doesn't seem like he earned it. It's not. The dumbest equivalent here is in a horror movie when a character does a crime or any kind of sin, like steal $1 billion and burn down an orphanage or steal cookies, they're deserving of death. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like in this film, Suneo doesn't feel like he's done something or been immature enough that he needed to go through this experience. So it kind of just makes me scratch my head when the third act just becomes about like him more so. So, but yeah, you had thoughts. Go ahead.
Do you feel like the disability that he experiences has to be a punishment?
No, but it feels like that's what the movie wants it to be.
Like it's time for you to learn. Like that's what it feels like to me. I'm not saying disability is a punishment. I'm not saying it's like a cosmic thing like that. Like I'm not feeling like the disciples in the Bible, going like, who in that person lineage sinned for them to be blind? Like that's not at all. I just feel like the timing of when the film, obviously the film has stuff to do about disability because Josee is disabled and that's like a huge part of the story. But it doesn't feel like it's talking about the differences and the anxieties between like Tsuneo not getting that like Josee is disabled and thinking that she's capable of the same things. And frankly, I think the movie recognized that Tsuneo better understands she's disabled. Like when they go out in public and Tsuneo is just like frustrated that people are being rude like to Josee. So it was really strange that the movie decided like, all right, press the button where he gets hit by the car. Like that just felt so strange to me.
I think to me, I'm able to kind of see it as like, oh, it's a cosmic thing that could have happened to anybody.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like having an injury like that, having an experience like that, it could have happened to anybody. I do think that the movie's choice of like having it happen did feel like another one of those like manufactured drama moments.
It is contrived.
Where it's like where it's like, how better to get him to understand her perspective
right
than to legitimately put him in a wheelchair beside her.
And it's like, but he's like, he can empathize, right? But he should be able to. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, and again, like it does, I guess, like kind of a fine enough job in like inverting it a little bit, where he has all of these great dreams and he's kind of always had the freedom to do what he wants and to like pursue his dreams overtly. And he even kind of encourages Josee, like, why aren't you doing this art stuff more? Like, it's really wonderful. Like, not in like a judgmental way, but in a like, you should follow your dreams. Why are you listening to your grandma when she says to stay at home? Like, I'm going to help you sneak out anyway. So like, it does kind of invert that where like suddenly he does not have that freedom or that ease. I guess I see what you're saying, where it's like, why is it having him relearn how to empathize with Josee when like the story we've been told so far like hasn't shown him as like a person who's like not empathetic towards her.
Yeah, he's not indignant to her.
And why does it also have to be that she now has to kind of prove herself as a character, being the type of person that he was for her at the beginning of the film?
I think people can care for others without going through their experiences, if that makes sense. I do think when you go through someone's experience, it maybe helps validate, kind of stand as sort of like a quote unquote certificate of proof that like you do get it, right? Like you didn't just read about it, you went through it, that kind of thing. But I think it's strange. And I think it's half baked. I don't think it's complete. I think it's muddled. I think there's things in the way, as I've been saying. So this to me is like kind of when the movie starts to get real messy and like the car that hit him, the wheels just keep turning and shaking and he ends up getting in an accident. It just feels really bizarre. Want some quick updates on the podcast? Follow the Cinematic Doctrine Instagram for cool posts and story updates. Press the link in the show notes or search Cinematic Doctrine, that's one word, in your Instagram app. Oh, and we're on Threads. Check us out there too. Kitty Cat, what do you recommend?
Well, I'm recommending Tales from the Umbrella Academy, You Look Like Death. I was able to find a really great deal on all 6 issues. This was a really quick read, but it's focused on Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. I definitely recommend going out of the way to read this short series if you enjoy the Umbrella Academy, whether it's the comic or the TV show, because in the TV show, Klaus is also the highlight of that. So just to kind of sell it to people, this is the first time I had ever seen a vampire chimpanzee. So that was really cool. Very, very goofy, very short, quick read. Just a nice way to kind of unwind this weekend.
And then I'm going to recommend a also short thing, a short film. a less than 2 minutes short film called Dead Grandma. This is a very effective and efficient short film. It translates feeling very quickly and clearly as you think about it. It's not graphic at all. It's just a suggestive thing. It's, when you see it, you're left thinking about it. It's basically just context clues to the game. In my opinion, I think it's kind of a brilliant showcase of what film as a visual medium can be. It utilizes sight, sound, camera work to evoke a particular feeling, and in this case, it's dread. I was not a fan of It Can't Get Any Better Than This. That's the found footage film that Kathryn and I saw that only screens in theaters. And I talk about it in I think it's the Q4 catch-up 2025 with Movies and Dust. That's basically the first episode of this year. You can find it. I did not like that. But they did this. They did Dead Grandma, and I think it's really good comparatively. I think it shows a lot of proficiency, and I do think there are things about It Can't Get Any Better Than This that show that they understand some of the more nuanced, complicated things about the medium of film. But this is like them showing like, no, we get it. Like we totally get it. Whether or not that translates to another feature film in the future, who knows? But I think this short film is really good. Totally free to watch on YouTube. Check it out.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Cinematic Doctrine. If you enjoyed the episode, give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're using. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, too. We put out stuff like all the time. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. It helps the algorithm share our stuff around, and I see them, so I usually reply. Also, if you support on Patreon, you could have totally heard this episode early. There's a bunch of other benefits to supporting on Patreon, so head on over to patreon.com/cinematic doctrine to learn more. Speaking of Patreon, thank you so much to our Art House Theater tier Patreon supporters. Thanks, Thomas, Shirley-Ann, Mom, and Dad. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, stay cool.
Sheriff, we got a lot to talk about.
Welcome to Twin Peaks. I'm your Twin Peaks veteran, Special Agent Matt Hanna.
And I'm your first-time viewer, Sheriff Hannah.
And each week, we're visiting David Lynch and Mark Frost's Twin Peaks on our new show, Welcome to Twin Peaks, a Twin Peaks rewatch podcast.
Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
We're talking dreams, damn fine coffee.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
Back we're talking mysteries.
And asking the important questions like, who really killed Laura Palmer? Are the owls what they seem? And why does this town feel like a nightmare you don't want to wake up from?
It is happening again.
Whether you're a longtime Twin Peaks resident or stepping into the Black Lodge for the very first time, Welcome to Twin Peaks is your guide through the woods.
What kind of fantastic trees have you got growing around here?
New episodes every week wherever you get podcasts.
And be sure to follow our socials at Welcome to Twin Peaks Podcast for schedules and opportunities to call and write into the show.
I'm gonna turn it upside down!
The mysteries are dense and the secrets are dark.
We'll see you in Twin Peaks with a fresh cup of coffee.